Well, I got the rudder pretty good now. I got the finishing tape over the trailing edge. I cut a gusset and doubler and put over this tail position light, this nav light, and kind of scalped it around a little bit there. Heat shrunk it around so it came out fairly nice. And then I run one piece of tape. I used the 4-inch bias tape and then stretched it down around these corners and stuff. I cut it in kind of a curve here where it overlaps this gusset over the tail position light, and then the same thing on this side. I galloped that a little bit, overlapped it, brought it down, and then took it down to the beacon, and I'd put a gusset around the beacon, and then I cut a cap over the top of the beacon, glued it down, and then heat formed it around the top so there's no raw edges on that beacon at all there on the top of it. And then I run this finishing tape around to that, cut a little arc around there, cut that off, and then the same thing on the other side. And I still need to finish it. I just got done, so the poly brush isn't cured yet, but as soon as I'll let it dry out for a little while, and then I'll come back and trim up that balance there on the end of that rib. I still have to put my drain grommets in, and on this one I'm going to put the drain grommets in on the outside of all the finishing tapes instead of on the inside. These have got to go right down here close to this bottom. That's where the water buildup on there is, right there, and there's a curve there, and I've got to work that out, how to put those on. And I've still got to cut out for the tail position light here and trim that, or put that fabric in there and glue that in. The rudder is all done in the pink through the poly brush. These seams here, this is the left side, these seams here are almost going to disappear. I've got them covered over quite a ways with the tape here. I used the 4-inch bias tape and stretched it down. Got a good cover over that and glued down real well. And I did put drain grommets on. I put 2 grommets here on the left side, one down here all the way at the low point, and one up here. This will be the low point of this curve, just above this rib here where it goes down. I didn't put any on the rest of those ribs. And there's 2 grommets down here. There's one on the right side and one on the left side. I punched the holes in there after I got all the finishing tapes on, and then glued those on afterwards and put the doilies over them just to see how they work. The other way I did it, I put them on before I put this last finishing tape on, and then covered them over with the last finishing tape, and that was kind of a pain. Anyway, these doilies here are glued down pretty good, so that should hold those on there pretty good. And these are glued down with polytack. These 2 down here on the bottom corner, I put them right down as close to the edge as I could get them. I put my hole right there, and it's right on, almost right on that junction between where this post is and where this trailing edge goes. And so that grommet is right down on the edge, and I glued that on both sides, right and left side, with polytack, and glued it on real good, stuck it on there, and then let it sit and cure for about an hour or so. And then I come back with the iron set at 275, and 250 probably would have worked, but I was able to form that grommet around that trailing edge right there, so that it actually has a curve in it right there. Got them down as low as I can on that, so they should draw water out of there pretty good. Here's a grommet here. This is one I practiced on before I put them on there. You can see how I got the curve in that. I was just doing it freehand just to see if it would work. Both of them down here on the bottom, and the one here, I've got them canted. Instead of going straight back in the slipstream, I've got them canted down at an angle. The ones on the elevators hang down, and so the water will run down past them and out. But on these, if the water run down this direction from the rain and stuff, and I thought they would maybe catch on those lips and fill the rudder up with water. Water would run in through those, so I canted them down a little bit so that the water will hopefully run around those and not run in the grommets. I can hang that up now, put it out of the way, and get started on the fuselage. There's tail control surfaces and lower door half hanging up there, all nice and covered and in the pink. They're all out of the way for now. Get some more work on those when we get ready to put the silver on them and the finish color.